Konami's new Yu-Gi-Oh ban list will completely change the game forever. Today, big dogs, I'm going to be breaking down the complete Yu-Gi-Oh ban list and giving you my thoughts on it. A lot of the stuff we got completely right. It always feels so good, so give me my flowers while you have the chance. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Bro, there is so much to talk about this list. I mean, look at that. Look at that, it's crazy. It's expected, because, you know, if you would have copped the merch, you would have already known that we've already guessed this. But there is a couple of things that we do have to talk about with this list and a complete breakdown. The first thing I want to mention is that if you are in North America and Latin America, the ban list goes into effect on Monday. This is huge for players that are attending YCS Riley, and also huge for anyone that's having an event coming up. For Europeans, Africans, Oceanians, and Middle Easterns, I'm assuming that's what IMI is, you guys get a whole week to prepare. But let's go ahead and jump on and talk about these ban cards, why they are banned, and my thoughts behind it. For the forbidden cards, we pretty much guessed this 100% to the T. We said that Baron de Fleur and Borreload Savage Dragon were bannable Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and on surface thought it doesn't seem like it, but when you start to see the direction that Konami will be going with this game, it makes so much sense. If you guys think of Snake Eyes, and I hope to make a video about this, if you guys think of Snake Eyes not necessarily as power creep, but what decks should be able to do, they should be able to consistently get into whatever board that they want to make, and they should have a thought process behind being interrupted. A lot of players always complain about losing their deck losing to the opponent using cards like Ash Blossom and Hand Traps. Well, the next step in evolution is to have strategies that can still make reasonable boards without or despite being hand trapped. The problem with that is that you have to sacrifice generic Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are pretty brainless to play. And Baron de Fleur and Borreload Savage Dragon are those brainless type Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now, there are other cards in the game that are really strong. Take, for example, Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. The card is extremely good and is probably the forerunner or the front runner of the strongest generic negation Yu-Gi-Oh card. But the difference between Appaloosa and Boron and Borreload is that these cards, Boron and Borreload, take almost no thought to make. If you think about it, when you summon these monsters, they have virtually no counters because they counter their counter. Appaloosa cannot counter its own counters like these cards can. It also requires very little thought, very little skill to be able to play these cards over skillfully choosing Appaloosa over some of the other cards that you can make inside of your extra deck. I actually wholeheartedly agree with this, especially if decks are going to be hyper consistent and able to change their lines depending on the interruptions your opponents bring out, then these cards have to be banned. In that particular setting, these cards are broken. And if you historically look back at some of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, the best combo decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, they have historically made these generic cards. It makes perfect sense for these to be banned. I'm sorry that your rogue deck is going to be affected, but unfortunately, fortunately, I guess however you want to put it, your rogue deck shouldn't have relied on generic Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the first place. Unless you're a Rocket player, I'm sorry to tell you this. Next is going to be the Summon Limit ban. We did predict that this card was going to eventually get banned. We said the reason why it would get limited first is because if you look back on cards like Royal Oppression and Vanity's Emptiness, that's what Konami has done. They limit those cards before they ban them, but maybe this is under a new change of direction and realizing that Summon Limit is just a toxic Yu-Gi-Oh card and hitting it on the ban list. I don't know what's next, so let's all go through it together. It's probably going to be crazy. Next on the ban list is going to be Arch Nemesis Protos. Hey, yo! Bro, wait, what? A Sword Soul best deck right now? Is that what we doing? Is that what we cooking, guys? Is we on that? I don't think Arch Nemesis Protos will make Sword Soul the most ridiculous deck in the game, but it's definitely a card that can help strategies combat fire, but also a good card that they could use to be able to combat any other deck. I think that it's good. Tidal Dragon of the Waterfalls, I'm not impressed. Thunder Dragon Colossus, I am sent to the moon. I thought that this was a card that would never come back just because it doesn't, in my head, it doesn't promote healthy gameplay. If you're going to ban generic cards like Baron and Borreload Savage Dragon, bringing back a reasonably generic monster that prevents the opponent from searching and can protect itself is in an interesting spot. But unlike Baron and Borreload Savage Dragon, Thunder Dragon Colossus does have weaknesses. So I could see it coming off, and I can't wait to make Thunder Dragon deck profile, Sword Soul deck profile. Oh my God, we're cooking today, boys. We eat good. Next is Magic Spectre Unicorn Kirin. We predicted that this card would come off the list. This card can come to 3. I don't think that it affects Magic Spectres negatively, and it doesn't affect it, or it affects Magic Spectres positively, and I don't think it affects the game negatively. Chicken Game to 1, Anti-Spell Fragrance to 1. Konami is really chopping down on Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh cards with the Anti-Spell Fragrance to 1. I absolutely love it, and Chicken Game Limited is definitely a card that could possibly come to 3. I see a couple of cards on this list that could 100% go to 3, and this is just natural progression. Holy crap, I've already went to limited. This is a big boy ban list. What's on semi-limited? Is it going to be just as crazy? Dear Lord. All right. Semi-limited is going to be Armageddonite and Pearly Delicious Memory. Is Pearly getting another hit? I'm not tripping, am I? No. This card was limited before. Okay, cool. All right. I was like, bro, it's like every ban list, Pearly gets another hit. But this time, Pearly Delicious Memory is huge for the strategy. I think that is going to make them a lot more competitive. They were already a strong strategy now. Getting Delicious Memory means that they'll be able to make E-Pearly, X-Pearly Noir a little bit easier. And Armageddon Semi-Limited is also something that we did see. I believe that happened in Master Duel as well. This card isn't as dangerous as it used to be, especially with cards like E-Soul Ban. Moving on to Unlimited. Let's see if we got the bad boys, guys. Did we get the bad boys here? Holy crap. How can your boy be right? What is going on, guys? Hero best deck, bro. Misk is still banned on Limited, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm not going to complain about that. We have Destiny Hero Malicious Unlimited. This is huge for hero players. Now they'll be able to summon their boss monsters like Destiny Hero Plasma a little bit more consistently. Their lines become a lot more fluid. There's just so much greatness for hero. I'm not sure if this will even help warriors because, again, monsters like E-Soul are banned, so these cards aren't disgustingly bad. Orcus Harpor is huge for Orcus too. That's going to allow them to make their deck a lot more consistent too, since they have access to it, and it's going to be a little bit easier to get rid of. Between 2 Armageddonite and 3 Girsu and 3 Orcus Harpor, Orcus can be a legitimate threat. I think that it'll be really good. Speedroid Terratop to 3 is a boost, is a huge boost to Goblin Biker. I'm not 100% sure if that's enough to make the strategy very competitive, but keep in mind, Speedroid Terratop is a free special summon. So without investing your normal summon, you get into the Goblin Biker cards that you want. I think that that's amazing. And Sky Striker Mobilize, Engage 2-3. The original reason why this card was limited was because it was a generic card that you can play inside of an engine using Hornet drones to be able to get a free warrior monster to eventually make E-Soul, but E-Soul being banned and the game stepping away from generic strategies or generic cards to be played, I think that this card is perfectly fine at 3. Holy, this is a crazy ban list, guys. I'm actually very happy that Konami decided to go this route, and I think that it is really good for the game. I can make an entire video about the new direction that Konami is going, and I absolutely love it. Archetypes are going to be a lot more important. Your boss monster inside of your deck is going to actually mean something, and generic boss monsters are no longer the stage of Yu-Gi-Oh! But let me know what you guys think about this ban list. It was crazy for me. I think this is one of the best ban lists that Konami has put out right there. If you guys agree, go ahead and let me know. If you think this ban list is complete garbage, also let me know. I can't wait to see what you have to say, and I can't wait to make more videos for you.